Welcome to this demo for the latest features in our Goanna firmware. Let's get started with AutoFill. Now we have training videos coming your way, so I'm not going to go through all of the steps of AutoFill today. What I am going to show you is using it on the screen. So imagine I've already set up my CommBox Vault. So all I need to do on the screen now is go into the Experience app, tap on Accounts and Security, and scroll down to AutoFill. It was already enabled, but I'm going to leave it as Enable AutoFill there. I would save and exit, and that's it. The next step is to log in with my CommBox OS account. I'm going to use my NFC card today. You can, of course, use your QR code on your phone, but today I've got my NFC. So there we are, logged in. And what I'm going to log into is OneNote. So I've downloaded the OneNote app onto the machine. I'm going to tap in the username here. I'm going to pop this up there so you can see. And up here is Unlock AutoFill. I'm going to tap that and enter the PIN that I created when I was setting up my Vault. Right. And as you can see, my username is up here, ready to roll. I've just tapped that and it's filled it in. Tap next, and we'll get to the password part of it. There we are, password for eFoot. So it's never going to show you the password. It's going to suggest it, and it's filled it in and obfuscated it so no one can see my password. I'll tap sign in, and of course I have to do my MFA, so I'll grab my phone and do that. And it's as simple as that. It now logs me into OneNote, welcomes me while I'm here. I tap Get Started, and here we are in my personal OneNote, ready to teach. You can also log into any number of apps, anything that you set up in your Vault, and any number of web pages as well. So we've got lots of options in there, and you just use the CommBox browser, and you have the exact same situation happen. So that's it from AutoFill. Next, we're going to have a look at primary user mode. So primary user mode allows you to stay logged in. Let's have a quick look at the settings here. Accounts and security. And when we look at the accounts and the sessions, it's this simple toggle here. So allow users to stay logged in. Keen eyes are going to see that there's a few other updates here. You can also toggle on or off showing custom session lengths. That's that scrolling wheel when you select a session time. But we've also enabled it so that you can set the session lengths that you want. So out of the box, it's 15, 30, 45 minutes and an hour, but we can set what we want here. So I'm going to remove this one by setting it back to 0. We might make that 20 minutes. This one might be 22 minutes, and we'll have 7 hours. So I'm going to save and exit there, and I'm going to log out and log back in, and you'll be able to see all of the custom session lengths at that point. All right, I'll grab my NFC card. And you can see 20, 22, and 7 hours, and importantly, stay logged in. So that's going to allow me to stay logged in for the rest of the term, for the rest of the year, however long I choose. Now, importantly, we always talk about cybersecurity, and what we've added to this to make it cyber secure is the lock screen. And there's a number of ways that you can get there. You can hit the lock button on the control bar, or you can simply hit the button on the screen, as you might when you're leaving for recess or lunch. And when you come back, it's going to ask you to re-authenticate. So you can see I'm logged in as Ellie, and I can resume my session. I'm actually going to resume my session using my NFC card, but you could also use the QR code simply by tapping that, and you can see the QR code pops up. And there we go. I'm straight back in exactly where I left it. If you had the whiteboard open, that's what would be open when you come back to your session as well. And that's primary user mode. Right, now let me show you editable lobby. So when we created CommBox Experience, we allowed you to set whatever presets that you liked, but it was a little limiting. It meant that you had to pick from one of our presets and then you could tinker with it from there. What editable lobby allows you to do is create a lobby that works exactly for your organization or environment. So it's as simple as going into the CommBox Experience, tapping home and side menus, and this big plus screen here. So we can create a regular preset or a lobby preset. So the lobby will give you this widget that you can move around however you like. You can make it smaller and you can add things from the launcher onto your lobby as well. So it's simple as tapping on the launcher. Maybe you want scorecard on there. You can put it on there however you like. And then you can save the preset and it's ready to be used. So that's our editable lobby. All right, now let me show you posters and some of the updates that we've made there. All right. So I've got my posters set as my widget. We love hearing from our CommBox crew, and we have had feedback that they would like a few different posters in here. So Goanna is coming with, I think, 7 new posters. We've got yoga poses, we've got landforms. There's a lot of really cool ones in here. I'll show you a couple of my favorite ones. So here is our communications board, and this was requested by a school who had some non-verbal students in the classroom. The communication board allows students to communicate with their teacher during the class by pointing to what it is that they need. So we've inserted this one into our posters, and we've got a few more as well. I'm just going to type classroom behavior in here. Ooh. Actually, that's brought up the one I want already. So this is a bit of a fun one to pop up when you've got work in progress and you don't want anything too distracting on the screen. We've also added some additional functionality. So now when you tap on one of our posters, we have a new button right here that's going to insert it into the whiteboard. So now that that's inserted into the whiteboard, you can include it into your lesson, you can annotate over the top of it and use it however you wish. And now another exciting update for our tools. So again, our CommBox crew spoke and we listened. So I'll tap into the rewards one here and you can see you can have a number of student names here. Previously, you would have to type every individual student's name and our crew told us that that was taking too long. So what we have done is we've been able to update this so that you can now enter a list of names. So it's this little button at the top here. I'm going to go to my USB stick that I've just created there, and I have a CSV file, a simple file that I created in Excel, and you can see that it's populated that whole table with, well, actually this is all of the CommBox team members. So as simple as that, you've got your class ready to roll. This update is available in rewards, it's available in Spinner, and in Scoreboard as well. So now that the file's loaded, you can see all of our names are in here. This is actually the CommBox team members' names, but how quick was that to get all of these names in there, and now we're ready to have fun. So we can add a wizard for Matt. He actually is a wizard. We can add a reward for Tina, and we'll add a cat for Jachi. So you can see that the workflow of this has really improved. And that's what we're aiming to do, is continually improve workflows for the wonderful tools that we already have. All right, now I'm going to show you all the wonderful things we've added to the whiteboard. So I'll just open the Whiteboard app. The first and foremost I want to show you is that we have a new item on our toolbar. We've added backgrounds down here. No longer is it over here in the settings menu, right where it belongs there on the toolbar, ready for you to add whatever backgrounds you like. And of course, we have added new backgrounds. Again, our CommBox crew gave us feedback that they'd like a few additional things. So we have all of the different handwriting lines from all of the different states and territories. One of my favorite ones is Sky, Grass and Dirt. And this helps students who are learning to write. So they can learn that a D goes up into the sky if you're writing the word dog, and a G goes down into the ground. So again, great suggestion from our CommBox crew, and I love that we can add that into the screen. We've also had some requests from music teachers, so we now have a piano keyboard, and we have some blank staves as well. And to go along with those staves, we also have some new symbols. So we've got our music symbols here, our bass clef and our treble clef. And again, all requested by our CommBox crew. So another request from our CommBox crew was to have some different fonts. So in our write to text feature, a lot of teachers had a look at that and went, that's wonderful, but can we have that in the New South Wales foundational font? And now I'm really happy to say that yes, we can. But not only that, we can have that in every font from every state and territory and New Zealand. So we've got the New South Wales foundational font, we've got the Queensland one, South Australia, Tasmania, Northern Territory, Victoria, WA and New Zealand. They are all in there ready for you to use. So let's give that a try. I'm in my write to text pen. I'm going to write the word hello. And there we go, into the New Zealand font. So we've added more functionality as well. You can now select any text that's on the screen and use the audio button to have it speak back to you.
Hello.
You can even translate this into other languages. And I think we've got over 50 in here, and it'll translate that, and then you'll be able to speak that audio back to the class as well. So that's it for the Whiteboard app, but I have a couple of extra apps to show you. Let me show you CommBox Explore. So from the launcher, we've got the Explore app open. We created this to fill a gap. This has got heaps of content for years 7 up to 12, and it's lots and lots of STEM content. So you can see we've got maths, biology, geography, chemistry, and physics. And the fun thing about this is it's really interactive. So it's a really fun way of learning. I'm going to bring up one of the 3D models that we've got in here. So here it is. We have our 3D skeleton, but you can also interact with it. So you can see I can move it around. We can look at it from all different angles, and we can get some more information about it as well. So imagine that in the classroom. How much more fun is that than looking at a book or looking at a presentation? It's not just 3D models in here. There's all sorts of amazing content. There's quizzes, there's simulations. One of my favorite ones is around natural selection. So go back to the library and into the simulation for biology and natural selection. Now this one is really cool. It brings up rabbits and generations of that, and you get to look at dominant and recessive genes. So once it loads, you'll be able to have a look. Here we are. We'll jump into the lab. We'll add a mate for this bunny. We'll add some different dominant and recessive genes. Maybe add in some wolves. You can see as the generation goes, we now have some brown rabbits in there, and we have some wolves that are evening out the population. So how interesting is that in the classroom to really learn about natural selection? As you can see, as the generations go on, the data appears at the bottom of the screen, and students are learning in a much more interactive way. So I really am excited to get this into the hands of teachers so that you can have a play with it as well, because there's so much content in here that students are just going to love. All right, now onto my next app, and that is a sticky note app. So I'll close this out here. And this is a really simple app, but really effective as well. And it's called Sticker. So we'll get it from the launcher. And actually, I'm going to drag it onto the screen here. So it's a really simple app. You just tap it to open. It'll overlay over whatever content you already have on the screen. So if you're looking at the whiteboard, if you're looking at the browser, it can be over the top of this. And you simply write whatever you want in here. So we've got a blue sticky note there. We could add another one, and you can add different colors. Maybe you want a purple one. And maybe we'll have a yellow one as well. So great for little reminders throughout the day, or if you want to, suggest some lunch options, and we can also insert them into the whiteboard if we want. So We'll move these notes out of the way. There you go. The word yellow is in there as well. This part of the demo is super exciting, CommBox AI. So with AI comes your AI license and your AI pen. So this is the pen here, beautiful as it is. As you can see, it's just a regular stylus, but it also has a number of buttons and one over here as well, and they are super important. The pen is Bluetooth enabled, so I've got a little Bluetooth receiver that comes with the pen itself, and I'll pop that in. And you can see that it pairs instantly. I will now press this button at the top and we're going to start navigating with the pen. Open the whiteboard. So with this, you can navigate to any app. You can turn the volume up and down. You can turn the brightness up and down. You can see that's opened the whiteboard for us. Draw a circle. So you can even add information into the whiteboard as you go. So as you can see, we can navigate the screen using the voice command, but we can also look up things as well. So maybe you're in the classroom and you really want to enhance what you're learning. Perhaps it's history. Show me information about Henry VIII. So as you can see, it's bringing back heaps of information about him, his character, his succession. So what we can do with that information is add it into the whiteboard. And you can see all of that information is there for the students. The next thing I'm going to show you is this button here. And this is our circle and go button. I'm going to hold that down. It's going to turn the screen blue in a sec. And now there it goes. And now it's ready to circle. So this is something that you can do. You can circle absolutely anything on the screen. Obviously I'm circling the whiteboard, but you could be circling something in a PowerPoint. You could be circling something on a different input. You could even be circling something in the settings and it will go and learn about it and bring you back information. We'll just close Ask AI there. And you can see it has an analysis. This is about Henry VIII of England. It also is going to bring up a whole bunch of interactive quizzes. So this is what makes lessons even more fun, is there are quizzes that it will create based on the information it has found about Henry VIII. It also brings back a whole bunch of images of the guy and some videos as well. So already there's so much more content just from that one circle and go. So that's it for circle and go. But let me show you the next AI tool in your toolkit. I'm not going to use the pen for this next bit. I'm going to go to the launcher and I'm going to open live subtitles. So the reason I don't need the pen for this is that it's actually going to use the 8-array mic at the top of the screen. It's going to detect my voice. And as you can see, it's already translating into French for me. There's actually over 50 languages that it can translate into. And you can see how quickly the translations come up. So impressive. We can also add that to the bottom of the screen. We can also change it so that it's a bit bigger as well. So now, right at the back of the screen, everyone can see the translation coming through. All right, so the next tool is Video Pilot. So I'm going to open that up now. Video Pilot, and I'm going to grab my USB stick because I've got a few movies on here. I'll add that in and look at my USB stick, jump into movies, and I've got some training videos here. Now I'm not going to play the video. What I am going to do is I'm going to hit that Video Pilot button, and what we're going to see happen is it's going to bring up the subtitles that were spoken throughout that video. It's also going to give us the summary. So you can see it's working on it at the moment. We'll toggle over into summary to see how that comes along. And there you go. It has a summary. It tells you that this is an introduction to the S5 whiteboard, all about the toolbars, the pen menu, heaps of information in there. And the subtitles are there as well, and they're continuing to load. Now what's really powerful about this is imagine that you have screen recorded a lesson. You can then add that into Video Pilot and have it summarized for you, and bam, it's back into the hands of the students. Amazing, right? So the next tool I'm going to show you is Calculator Pro. So I'm going to open that from the launcher. And I know you're thinking you've seen calculators before. This one is a little different. This one allows you to use your natural handwriting and help you solve equations. So I'm going to go something simple here. It'll come up with the answer. So you can do slightly more complicated things. You can do multiplication. You can even start doing more complex things like quadratic equations. And the really cool thing about these is that you can actually insert the graph. So this is a very simple one. You can obviously get a lot more complicated, but it's created the graph there. And of course you can insert that into the whiteboard so that you can continue your lesson there. We'll close that. And we might change that background color so you can see it just a little better. There we go. Cool. And now that we are in the whiteboard, I'm going to show you a couple more AI tools that we've added into the whiteboard too. So I'm going to start a new page. So the theme for today's lesson is burgers. So I'm going to write the word burger. It's turned it into text for us. And now that I tap it, you can see that I've got a few AI tools. Let's go with AI topics. And you can see that it brings up a whole bunch of talking topics along the top of the screen. So if you're having a lesson, you can now expand on that and learn even more about things. We can also add an AI mind map. So it's taking that central theme of burgers, extrapolating it out. We've got global popularity, innovation in burgers, all sorts of stuff going on there. And finally, possibly my favorite one is the AI painter. And you've got a few different styles to go with. Let's go with authentic and generate. And what this does is it takes not only words, but also your own hand-drawn images, and it reimagines it in the style that you have selected. So there we go, a delicious looking burger. So that's it for AI and the Goanna Firmware update. Another exciting announcement for you. Android 16 is coming to the Classic S5 in 2026. This means more longevity for your screen and more cybersecurity. Future-ready performance built to evolve with you. If you'd like to know more about Goanna, contact our team, book a demo, or visit our website.